A writer, a photographer, on the road exploring a fascinating world in a state of perpetual motion, constantly departing while always arriving, seeking a window into an ever-changing universe. This is WION Traveller.
Two years on the road, travelling at a hectic pace whilst whizzing through time and space on Eddington's Great Arrow of Time is a bit like gazing out of the window of a train. The world at large first picks up speed and then becomes a bit of a blur. Time shifts in character. Bereft of the usual markers of routine, the wash of work, the daily commute, and the much-awaited weekends, the passage of time becomes almost notional when you're traveling. You don't know what day it is unless you check the calendar, and weekends tend to lose their significance. Life on the road becomes a mashup of experiences and people, places and hotel rooms. And before you know it, the year has passed. And then another one. It seems like yesterday when I drove up to the hills of Kumaon in Uttarakhand and waited for Johan to fetch him. That was our very first trip for WION Traveller, and at that point, if someone had told me that over the next 2 years, we would visit 6 countries, sleep for at least one night in over 75 cities, and spend over 400 days traveling and shooting, then I wouldn't have believed it. That's a long time to be away from home.
Are we done yet? That's something I get asked all the time. When we started, people thought we had a dream job, getting paid to travel. I certainly thought as much. Most of all though, a life on the road renders you a bit incapacitated to return to the life you left behind. Still, Meraj and I had decided that this month we would take 5, spend some time back at home, and see how we feel about the future. This is the 100th episode of WION Traveller.
Our first weekend home, and all we want to do is push the tempo up a bit.
Meraj has obviously rigged this competition. I mean, I'm way quicker than him, but there's just no space to overtake. There are plenty of obstacles on the track. 2 corners from the start, you come up to a bridge and then loop around to a causeway under it. These may not look like much, but you lose your composure on these tires embedded on the track, and you can be in for a pretty hairy turn. Man, I thought this course was for kids, but you've really got to keep your eyes on the track. So this is what people do for kicks in this city. If you ask me, driving in Delhi is an adventure in itself. But throwing these ATVs around this obstacle course in Greater Noida is way more fun than I thought it would be. There are barrel jumps and even this canal crossing, which looks pretty simple, but trust me, it isn't. One last hurrah through the water and you're at the finish line. Meraj wins. Big surprise that. Not fair.
I love all board sports, be it snowboarding or skateboarding, and I've just picked up my first skateboard in Delhi, and I'm heading to the Delhi Skateboarding Academy in Nebsarai. So this place was set up a few years ago, and I'm going to go in there and see if I can get to learn any new tricks. Oh yeah, this is good. Here we go.
At the nondescript basement of a house in Nebsarai in South Delhi, a bunch of youngsters are busy practicing their moves. For a few enthusiasts and a growing number of kids in the capital, skateboarding has become the sport of choice. At the Delhi Skateboarding Academy, you can pick up the sport, practice moves, and hang out. But this is more for pros, I think. I haven't been on a skateboard in years. Perhaps I need a setting more suitable for amateurs. Like the mecca of fun and frolic for Delhiites, especially on the weekends, the mall.
At this mall there is a ramp installed, which should be ideal for a wannabe skateboarder like me. Skateboarding car ke kya milta hai?
Excitement and like pleasure. It's like learning something new. It's always exciting.
Happiness, first of all, and it's also exciting to learn new things.
It's called an extreme sport for a reason, but with the right equipment, you're super safe and the right spot. The whole reason for this skate spot is that you fall and it's not dirt or tarmac which is digging into you. It's just wood and it's smooth, and we make sure it's clean, and we make sure there's not kinks, and you can focus on your board and skills.
I'm in college, so you need to have a hobby, so to keep yourself like busy. So that's how I roll. That's why I do skateboarding.
Like every time someone falls, we are like, welcome to skateboarding. I'm used to falling, man. Like when the first time I was learning kickflip, I like rolled my ankle. So like I took a break of like a month, then I started skateboarding again.
I'm an artist. I paint.
You're an artist?
Yeah.
Do you do skateboard inspired art or?
I have art on my skateboard.
Yeah, you do. All right, wow, I've had a chance to try out skateboarding now. It's been many years since I tried it last. I have some sense of balance, but not too much. This is really a sport that requires so much practice. These guys have had years to practice, and they probably do it every single day to get to this level. But it is a really rewarding sport. If you do want to try it out, you should start as soon as possible, because it takes years to learn, and the sooner you start, the faster you'll become good at this. By the looks of it, it's a huge food festival on.
I turned vegetarian in November last year and have kept it up without fail so far. It's a bit tempting to try eating meat again though, especially now when I'm at a gourmet food festival. But I'm just going to try the different veg food options available here.
Hello, chef. How are you? What's your name?
Jamshid.
Jamshid? Yeah. Okay. So, if I was going to have something vegetarian from your menu, what would you recommend?
So I definitely recommend you try the shroom bun.
Shroom buns.
Yeah.
Wow, man. All right. So this is a carrot and orange soup. It looks deceptively like an orange juice, but it's actually hot and it's a soup.
This is way bigger than I thought. Chef Ranveer Brar is here, busy signing autographs for his fans. He's quite a celebrity, but even he's a fanboy when it comes to the other chef here. A living legend, Chef Marco Pierre White. The original bad boy chef. The man who with his rough-hewn superstar looks made being a chef look oh so cool is right here. And not only is he cooking up a storm, he's also going to, believe it or not, talk to me.
Firstly, what I can say is that I've never had a bad meal in India.
Really?
And I can't say that about any other country in the world.
Wow, that's impressive.
But out of the 3 cities where I've eaten lots of food, Delhi for me is the best cuisine.
Yeah.
Well, one thing, wherever you go in the world, I don't think there's anyone else in the world who understands the balance of spice and the use of spice like the Indians.
Wow.
The cook's amazing.
Yeah.
And the one thing I love about India, you get hot food, not just in spice.
Right,
but
isn't
heat.
it? The richness of the spices.
And what I do find is when you find those modern day Indian restaurants trying to bring in French influence into it, I think it takes something away from their cuisine, especially the heat. And so I just like simplicity. It's like yesterday I had a butter chicken from the restaurant where his grandfather had invented it. It's in 1947. It was just sensational. Like no butter chicken I'd ever had in my life before. I suppose I came from humble working class beginnings. And what you tended to do then, you tended to follow your your parents' footsteps.
Yeah.
Had my father worked down the mine, I'd have gone down the mine. Had he worked in the mills, I'd have gone to the mills.
Right.
He worked in hotels, in the kitchens. And so you just followed your father's footsteps.
So in India, that's also very common to have the same job as your parents do. What do you
And your
think about all the
grandparents.
young people that you see here? There's so many chefs that really have a burning passion for cooking.
Well, you see enthusiasm like nowhere else in the world.
Right.
And I think what India will see in the next 10, 20 years is an extraordinary revolution.
Right.
A gastronomic revolution.
That's what we find also, because when we're doing a travel show and we cover food, people love seeing food. If you don't cover the food, it's like, is it really worth traveling on?
Well, let's be honest, is the most important aspect of any holiday is food.
Right.
If you have bad food, you tend to have a bad holiday.
Right.
And because let's be honest, wherever you go in this world, it's always beautiful.
Yeah.
It's the food and the people
that
make India special.
Right.
And you know, it's my favourite country on earth.
Wow.
And I feel more at home in India than I do in my own country.
Really? Wow.
And that's the truth. It's not a lie.
That's really impressive. And now you're getting your own film with Russell Crowe. It's a natural selection to have Russell Crowe.
People keep on talking about it.
But it is happening though, right?
People talk about it. You know more than me.
Well, when I heard that Russell Crowe would be playing you, I thought somehow it was a quite natural selection because, I don't know, is it because it was a gladiator? I can see him screaming like you would in the kitchen. I don't know.
He's an extraordinary individual.
Yeah.
Quite a brilliant man, actually.
Yeah. You have a good relation with Russell Crowe?
I admire him greatly. I like him a lot as a person. I enjoy his company.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your input.
I say thank you for your time.
I have to admit that I was a bit nervous meeting Marco. I mean, this is the guy who made Gordon Ramsay cry. But as it turns out, away from the pressures of a kitchen, he's a really nice guy. I'm glad he loves Indian food as much as I do. As I was leaving, a lady walked up to Marco, insisting he sample a lamb dish she had prepared. Marco was only too pleased to oblige.
If you ask me one word, it was the best moment of my life.
The best moment of your life?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Can't get better.
Wow, wow, wow. Out of all the different meals I've tried, this is for sure my favorite. The black rice vegetarian avocado. It's so creamy, it's so yummy, and then the mango gives a little hint of sweetness for it. Nothing like it.
Oh, and as for that home cook whose food Marco tried, well, her day got a whole lot better.
Okay. What if I fall down?
Ice skate is the country's only venue for ice skating, figure skating and ice hockey championships. By any yardstick, building an all-year-round ice skating rink in a city like Delhi isn't the easiest thing to do. It's been over 20 years since I skated on ice. In Sweden, the sport was a mandatory part of physical education, and we had to learn how to skate outdoor in the freezing winter. Here at this indoor rink, it's slightly chilly, but there's no need even for a jacket. Skating is a bit like cycling. You never really forget how to do it. A little bit of time on the rink, and even though my balance isn't the greatest, I'm able to acquit myself fairly well.
something like that. You know, it's been a long time.
I knew Rajiv Khati many years back when I used to work as a writer for a magazine. Rajiv used to do the same for a fitness publication. Even more unusually, he loved opera and was training to be a tenor. A few years later, I saw him perform in a few musicals and heard that he'd quit his job to pursue his passions full-time. I've always wanted to sing better, and I'm hoping that after meeting him, I'll be inspired to finally get some vocal training. I'm not sure I want to become an opera singer, but give me some exercises, na Khati. I mean, can I learn something like that? How do I do it? We're always on the move, unfortunately.
I think like everything else, it takes a little time. But again, I think everybody can. We've done this before. So let's try a few exercises, okay? Let's do la la la.
Okay.
All right. La 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 la. La 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 la. You see? Now keep that tone constant. Do not change. Don't do la 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 la.
Okay.
So it has to be la 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 la.
Okay.
La 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 la. A little lower. La 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 la. Once again. La 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 la. Exactly. So you see, I mean, you've always been that when you came to me earlier, I was always told you that you could become a very good baritone because you've got that very nice, rich chest voice.
Timbre.
Yeah, timbre.
That's about it. But that's about it. There's no sort of training that's gone into it.
Yeah.
How do you stay so fit? I mean, like, you must have like some mad workout routine.
Yeah,
It helps your singing, the staying fit bit?
Yes, it helps a lot because it gives me a lot more stamina, a lot more lung power.
He was always a bit of a gym rat, this guy, you know, always. He's what, 5 days in the gym, are you?
Yes, I used to be.
No longer?
I would say 7 days.
7 days?
Yeah.
In the gym?
Not at the gym.
With 0 rest days, you don't rest at all?
I do not rest at all. I do not rest at all. Because,
well, what do you do?
Wow, this I did not expect. Rajiv isn't just into fitness, he's obsessed with it.
What's my competition? Only me. Go head to head with my enemies and smashing the smithereens. Calisthenics burning calories. Bring that fire ready to blow up. Now we're the kerosene. I'm addicted to winning, feel the adrenaline. I'm a go-getter, get at me. Tighter, fighter, strike like a viper. Hyper, light you up like a pipe bomb.
And it's not just about wellness. Rajiv is a bona fide Jean-Claude Van Damme. A blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and a practitioner of mixed martial arts. Rajiv trains at the Cross Train Fight Club in South Delhi. I've trained Jiu-Jitsu during my childhood in Sweden. The version that Rajiv practices is the Brazilian variant of the sport, which has a good reputation around the world for being an extremely effective form of self-defense. The different martial arts taught here include boxing, Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and MMA, along with strength and conditioning. Fitness training is an essential part of the regimen. This group trains 6 days a week under coach Siddharth Singh. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is virtually unknown in India, where traditional sports like karate and taekwondo are more popular. That said, the Cross Train Fight Club has great success since it opened 6 years ago and is now considered one of the top-notch clubs in India for mixed martial arts. If it looks like I'm about to die, then that's precisely how I feel. I've been grappling with a few fighters and they're all so technically sound that I don't really stand a chance. Obviously I have a strategic advantage with my height, but my technique is poor and there's no chance of winning a bout. But considering that I haven't been training at all, I'm happy that at least I've been putting up a fight. There will be enough time to spend indoors when summer comes around. The most fun we've had this month was when we had gone on that ATV track in Greater Noida. You see, that wasn't the most exhilarating part of that outing. Now, I know this looks really safe, and it is, the pilot assures me. But I've got to admit, I had my heart in my mouth. Famous last words. You're sitting just above this little wheel and flying into the distance with these high voltage cables in the distance. I won't lie, I was scared. Once I got over my nerves though and looked around, I realized that a beautiful sunset was unfolding before us. When you're shooting, then you're always chasing sunsets, and what we call the golden hour. Meraj and I have seen some incredible sunsets, and this one certainly makes the grade. I think what I'm most afraid of when it comes to city life is losing touch with nature. And this site gives me hope. At least I know that I can drive out of town, take a short flight and find beauty in the city. It certainly exists if you look hard enough.
There you have it, a slice of our life back in Delhi. It's been fun, for sure, but I'll be the first to admit that it's also been a bit desperate, dying for some action, for an adrenaline kick, for a sensory rush, for indulgence. Even as I say that, I feel a twinge of subliminal guilt, and I think that comes from a place that's been conditioned to celebrate maturity and duty, sacrifice and responsibility. You know, all the stuff that they tell us we need to have to be upstanding citizens of society. Are we rebels? I don't think so. But I do think we are playful and immature and irresponsible, and I think we're just following what Joseph Conrad called your own bliss. And that means, at least for Johan and me, getting back out there and seeking new frontiers.
It's ironic that just when we were questioning ourselves on whether this show was becoming an excuse for our hedonistic pursuits, we've got external reaffirmation from an eminent jury and peers alike. The Exchange for Media News Broadcasting Awards picked WION Traveller as the travel show of the year. If this is the best travel show out there, then surely we have a duty to put aside our petty selfish interests and soldier on for the sake of all our viewers. Like the old Western heroes, we must tip our hats and move on. There's not a moment to lose.